Good afternoon, and thank you for providing me the opportunity to present a topic that's very dear to my heart. Many students today have a great desire to act and bring changes to this world. This change of mindset has been sweeping across different universities and different countries. While this new perspective provides us with much hope and optimism in the future, many of us still feel powerless and hopeless when facing the reality that confronts us. Today, I would like to present to you how social entrepreneurship can be our tool for change and how this relates to the broad topic of TEDx APU, which is to doubt your role. But before that, I would like to spend some time introducing myself. I am Miguel Evangelista. I am currently taking up my MBA here in this school. My major is finance, and this is my second semester. These are my classmates. Before coming here, I have already worked for 2 years in my home country, the Philippines. I was a senior marketing specialist at the Philippine Stock Exchange. My job introduced me to the world of finance. But of course, that knowledge does not pertain to what I will be talking about today. My experience as a social entrepreneur happened while I was just a university student. At that time, more than 5 years ago, I was a student entrepreneur. As the youth of today, we are always being associated with changing the future. We hear phrases like, the youth is the hope of the future. Often, and most of our parents and teachers remind us to study hard so that we can contribute and work towards a brighter future of our country when we formally become adults. This way of thinking is perfectly fine. And indeed, we really need to study hard for us to have a brighter future. The problem lies when we think so much of the future that we tend to forget about the present. So I challenge the audience right now to doubt this notion. Yes, we can definitely contribute to a better future. But does that mean that we do not have the power to change the present? I am here today to talk to you about my experience, on how I was able to, in my own little way, cause change in my society through social entrepreneurship. But before that, let me give you first a little background on what is social entrepreneurship. Social entrepreneurship is the process of pursuing innovative solutions to social problems. In a social enterprise, profit and social action go hand in hand and together to create a sustainable business model. Social entrepreneurship does not simply mean charity work. Charity is the act of giving something without gaining anything. Although this act is noble indeed, most of the time it is not sustainable because most of us do not have enough resources to do this in a grand scale. Social entrepreneurship often combines an activity that promotes environmental awareness and a social act, while at the same time profiting like a normal business. Let me tell you now how I was able to get involved in this activity. My experience as a student social entrepreneur started a few weeks before my high school graduation. I was introduced to this student organization called SAGE. SAGE, which means Student for the Advancement of Global Entrepreneurship, is a youth organization whose main goal is to connect teenage entrepreneurs sharing a common purpose to make the world a better place. I was invited by this organization to join their annual competition for youth social enterprises. They told me that winning the national competition will give me a chance to compete in the SAGE World Cup, which was to be held in Odessa, Ukraine. I was thrilled of having this opportunity to travel to Ukraine and compete in an international competition, although at that time, I really did not have any idea of what a social enterprise is. I was only 17. I knew about calculus, chemistry, and physics, which was taught in high school, but I did not have any idea of creating and managing my own business. Even though the course which I decided to take in college was business. The organizer told me that it was very easy. They will introduce me to a student advisor who will help me in starting up my own social enterprise. From her, I learned that I only need to follow a few steps. The first step is to form a team. This was easy, I thought. I went back to class and asked a few of my closest friends to join me. So, this is me. These are my friends. Since I told them that we will be able to get a chance to compete in an international competition in Ukraine, it was easy for me to convince them to tag along. Step 2, find a problem. Finding a social problem was very easy if you live in a third world country like me. We had lots of problems. In my city, Manila, one of the main problems was the poor garbage system, which usually causes the destructive floods during rainy season due to clogged drainage. Of course, poverty and unemployment is also prevalent in developing countries. In the Philippines, 1 out of every 5 families are considered poor. 4.4 million people experience hunger. This is mainly due to the lack of jobs. Our current unemployment rate is at 7.5%. Step 3 is to create a business solution to this problem. We thought that this is a very difficult thing to do because these are really big problems. If even the President of the Philippines cannot solve these problems, how can we, who were merely students, find a solution? Of course, that's an exaggeration, as we only need to try to contribute and find an effective and sustainable way to address these problems. We try to focus on simple things, like for example, the abundance of tarpaulins, which was used for campaigning by politicians. The national elections was held during that year. In the Philippines, tarpaulins are often used as campaign posters. After the elections, most of them are thrown away. Since these materials are non-biodegradable, most of it caused problems in the city's drainage facilities. We thought that we can reuse this material. We can create something out of it which we can sell to generate profit. We were also introduced to a non-profit organization called AirPat. This organization consists of a group of fathers who have lost their jobs during the recession. Since most of them worked in garment factories before, they were skilled in sewing, and they also had the equipment for it. So this led to the creation of TARP. TARP, which means Totally Authentic Reused Posters. This is our brand of bags made of reused tarpaulin. Upon entering the competition, we emerged as champions of the national leg. We went on to win the prestigious Arthur Boucher and Evelyn Noble International Award for Student Social Enterprise in Odessa, Ukraine. Social entrepreneurship opened up my world to a lot of memorable experiences. I was able to travel to different places, meet new and interesting people, strengthen my bond with friends. It was very fun and exciting. And of course, it gave me a chance to help my community. We were able to provide sustainable employment and at the same time contribute to a greener Manila. Due to my amazing experiences handling TARP, I was able to take up more roles in other social enterprises. I became part of the group which created Suit Yourself, another brand of bag which is made from old garments, particularly suits. In this project, we were engaged with unemployed women in Gawad Kalinga communities. Gawad Kalinga is a non-profit organization which builds homes for the homeless. Most of these people do not have jobs as well. So in order for them to become sustainable, we provided them with permanent employment. Social entrepreneurship provided me with amazing experiences, but handling your own social enterprise is not a walk in the park. Based on my experience, I have a few tips to share with you who are interested in becoming a student social entrepreneur. The first is to believe in your ideas. A lot of us have amazing ideas, but do not have the courage to share these ideas and make it into reality. There was once a student who believed that he can do something to connect the world. It was an amazing but a very big idea. He founded Facebook. and became one of the youngest millionaires. We students have the capacity to generate amazing ideas. We must be bold and take some risks in making these ideas into reality. We must not be afraid of making mistakes. Since we are students, it's our time to make mistakes, as we will also be able to learn valuable lessons from them. Tip number 2 is to join business competitions. There are a lot of opportunities out there which will help us improve our ideas and also gain recognition and reward for it. One of the most prestigious business competition is the Bid Challenge, which takes place in Amsterdam annually. Joining competitions will enable us to meet talented people who will be able to guide and advise us regarding our social enterprise. Winning the competition might also provide us with prize money, which can be an additional capital for our business. Tip number 3, last but not the least, do your accounting. Proper accounting can help us assess our business. It is one of the key elements to a sustainable business. The most common problem that a young entrepreneur faces is obtaining funding to start up the business. There are a lot of ways in which one can be able to obtain financing. My advice is to find the simplest one that will be able to meet our financial requirements. Remember, as a starting entrepreneur, most of your worries are about making your business work. Forget first about liquidity, ROE, and other concepts you may have learned in finance. The simpler, the better. And as a final reminder, we must never forget our obligations as a student, which is to study, study, study. One of the movies that left a good impression on me was Coach Carter. It tells a story of a coach who handled a high school basketball varsity team. One of his famous lines was, "These boys are student athletes. Student comes first." Always remember that you are student social entrepreneurs. Student comes first. Learning is still the most important part of our lives right now because we are young. We have a lot to learn, and these things we learn is what empowers us, what provides us with ideas, great ideas, that will enable us to doubt and shape our world and shape the world of others as well. For any questions or comments, you can email me or send me a message on Facebook. Thank you very much.